Jesus spoke to the crowds and to his disciples, saying, "The scribes and the Pharisees have taken their seat on the chair of Moses. Therefore do and observe all things whatsoever they tell you, but do not follow their example. For they preach, but they do not practice. They tie up heavy burdens hard to carry, and lay them on people's shoulders, but they will not lift a finger to move them. All their works are performed to be seen. They widen their phylacteries and lengthen their tassels. They love places of honor at banquets, seats of honor in synagogues, greetings in marketplaces, and the salutation, Rabbi. As for you, do not be called Rabbi. You have but one teacher, and you are all brothers. Call no one on earth your father. You have but one Father in heaven. Do not be called Master. You have but one Master, the Christ. The greatest among you must be your servant. Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, but whoever humbles himself will be exalted." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Recently, listening to a talk by a religious sister, she shares the following story. Her religious community was in a certain archdiocese, and the community knew the Cardinal Archbishop very well. And they knew, because he had shared with them and asked for their prayers, he suffered greatly for 3 years with severe trials against his faith. These temptations that God had allowed him to face, this man, this priest who had always been such a faithful priest. 3 years go by, and one night after he goes to bed, he wakes up and he sees this vision. And he sees a young religious sister, and he just catches her face. And as he looks at her face, all of a sudden, this trial is lifted. His heart is free, and he never struggled that way again. He wonders, who is this sister? Well, a couple of weeks later, he's celebrating Mass for a certain religious order, the Poor Clares. And as he's distributing Holy Communion, now these are our cloistered sisters. As he's distributing Holy Communion, the sister who he saw in his vision approaches, kneels down, and receives communion. After Mass, he asks the superior, "Can I meet with that particular sister?" And he's permitted to do so. And when he meets her, he asks her, he says, "Sister, can I ask you a question? Do you ever pray for cardinals?" And she says, not enough. She says, but actually sometimes in the evenings when I'm folding laundry, I offer that for the cardinals of the church." And he's blown away. This totally hidden little sister offering the folding of laundry to God for the cardinals of the church, and it sets him free in complete hiddenness. No one would see it except for God himself. There can be the tendency sometimes to take extra special care of those things that people are going to see in our lives, where we let slide those things that no one's going to see. This is why the scribes and Pharisees did all their works to be seen, caring more about what people thought than what God himself thought. Just recently I was reminded of that quote from Scripture that says, "Man judges by appearances, but God looks at the intention of the heart." And I just want to say this. In a given moment, it's important at times to simply rectify the intention of our heart. There are times where Satan tries to get in, like at the last moment, where we set out to do something good. For example, not long ago, I was downtown Sacramento, and a man came up and asked for money. And I was with a few people. And I thought, I should help this guy out. I took out my wallet, I grabbed a bill, and as I'm reaching out to hand him the money, all of a sudden, it's like it was injected in my heart, I hope the people with me are going to think well of me. And I just, in the moment, I go, interiorly, I'm like, no, I don't desire, Lord, this is for you, right? The intention of the heart. Or sometimes we set out and we don't have the right intention when we begin. And we just should rectify it as soon as we're aware of, okay, what is the reason for which I'm doing this? Is it first and foremost for God Himself? And if possible, let's do it in a way that no one sees.